It is Seahawks Today. We are presented by Manscaped. Coming up on today's show, I have 5 burning questions. Remember Jim Rome and Jim Rome is Burning? Welcome to the jungle. What we're going to do on today's show is I am going to run through 5 questions that I think is on the minds of Seahawk fans all across the country. And I'm going to give kind of my thoughts and where things stand for the Seahawks at this point as we're 3 weeks in, getting ready for Monday Night Football. So, without further ado, let's begin with question number 1. Question 1. Will the Seahawks pass rush wake up? The Seahawks are averaging just 1.7 sacks per game this season. Will it wake up? I mean, I sure hope so. And if I were to answer this question, which is part of my job here, 5 burning questions, I would say yes. And basically, the way I would sum it up is this, folks. The Seahawks have no choice but to get this pass rush going. Either the players that are there eventually wake up and they do their thing and get this pass rush on the right track, or there will be other players brought in, whether it be via trade or free agency. I know we've talked about a move for Chase Young for a long time on this channel, or if it were a potential move for a guy like Melvin Ingram in free agency, whatever it may be. This pass rush will get fixed at some point. The numbers right now are not good of what we've seen from the pass rush. We mentioned 1.7 per game. Jaron Reed is leading your team in sacks, 1.5. Trey Brown, Poye Mafe, and Dre'Mont Jones each have 1. Jordan Brooks have half a sack here. I expect this pass rush to eventually get back on track. I'm not worried right now, but the longer this goes, the more concerned I'll be. But I do think eventually it does get fixed. What's your confidence level in the Seahawks pass rush at this point? The lack thereof pass rush. Our pinned comment today. Scale it for me 1 through 10. Where does your confidence level stand at this point? Weigh in. Tell us what you think in the comment section below. Question 2. How involved will Jaxon Smith-Njigba and Jake Bobo be in the offense by the end of the season? Folks, I think you're going to like what you see from these two as they develop as the season goes along. And, as I hear from you guys, on the channel the last couple of weeks, you've been wanting more Bobo. And you've been saying, hey, JSN, why is he starting so slow and all this? Why is he not more involved? And what I would say, the answer is the same for both players. They're rookies. It takes time to adapt. And playing with the first-team offense and Geno and the speed of the NFL and all that, this isn't overnight. Despite both players, how well they performed in OTAs and training camp and the preseason and all that, there's still an adjustment period for both these guys. So eventually, I think you're going to like what you see from both players, that they are going to emerge, they're going to come along and play significant roles in this offense. And when injuries happen, God forbid, if something happens to, let's say, DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett, even Noah Fant to an extent, or Will Dissly, whatever it may be, then it's going to be next man up. It's going to be up to these guys to step up to the plate and kind of fill in the gap of some sorts. And so give it time. I'm not worried. I think they're both going to have big roles in this team and probably be your number 3 and 4 receiver by season's end. Today's show is sponsored by Manscaped. It's cuffing season, and your puppies could use a fresh trim that is refreshing as a fall breeze with Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. Use promo code Seahawks for 20% off plus free shipping. Look, folks, 9 million men worldwide are using Manscaped, and you can get the kit that covers it all with the Performance Package 4.0. Now, you may be asking, what comes in the Performance Package? Well, you're going to get the Lawnmower 4.0. You're also going to get the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, because let's be real, folks, the last thing your woman wants is a dude with stinky balls. Can't let that happen. Got to be wearing that ball deodorant. You also get the Crop Ball Spray Toner, so your balls just aren't white have a little flair to them, right? Plus, you get the Manscaped boxers, which your woman's going to love those too, and the Shed travel bag. That way you can take Manscaped with you wherever you go. Go to manscaped.com, use the code Seahawks, and what we're going to do is we're going to give you 20% off. That's right, you heard it first. 20% off at manscaped.com with code Seahawks. Free shipping as well. Go to Manscaped today. You'll be glad you did. Question 3 on our burning questions. Can Geno Smith continue to play at a high level? Geno right now has a 12-9 record as the Seahawks starting quarterback since 2022. And if you look back at last season, it was a tale of two seasons with Geno Smith, right? The first half of the year, he was fantastic. And the second half of the year, he was not so great. And he got away with a lot of turnover-worthy plays. That was kind of the theme of the second half of last year. Well, so far what we've seen at the beginning of 2023, Geno looks like the quarterback we saw in the first half of last year. 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, 736 yards, a near 69 nice completion percentage. Geno looks really good. And for me, what I've seen out of Geno is we've heard that he's putting in the work, that he's working as hard as anybody on this Seahawks team. But the weapons around him that are there, and remember, he's doing this without his starting tackles right now. I think that this Geno Smith is here to stay. This isn't a fluke of any sorts. He is going to continue to play at a high level, and with his team-friendly contract, you can point to several issues with this Seahawks team. Geno is not one of them. Touchdowns all day, he rules. I think he can be a Pro Bowler for a second straight year. Do you agree? If you agree, top Y for yes. If not, type in for no. Weigh in, tell us what you think in the comment section if Geno can be a Pro Bowler again. Question 4 on our burning questions. Light them up, light them up. I'm on fire! Will the offensive line continue to hold up for the Seahawks until Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas return? One thing that I say a lot, and I've even heard Smitty say this too, the NFL is a week-to-week league, right? You can look great one week and look bad the next, and vice versa. And what we've seen so far from the Seahawks with their offensive line is that ever since week 1, when Stone and Jake didn't play good, they have held their own. The offensive line has done its part through the last couple of games, and they've improved week by week. And specifically speaking, they've improved in run blocking. They've come a long way in that regard in opening up holes. And Damian Lewis in particular last week was really good in the run blocking. So with that said, they have earned my confidence. They have earned my confidence at this point that they can keep this going and continue on this path. Now, Phil Haynes is injured in addition to Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas. Those things aren't good. But, you still have some other options, potentially speaking, that we haven't seen quite yet get their chances. We saw a little bit of Anthony Bradford, some of these other guys here potentially. So I feel pretty good. The Seahawks have, some issues, but the offensive line is working through that. I'm optimistic about this group going forward. One final question to get to in just a bit, but a reminder, join us live Monday Night Football. Dun-dun, dun-dun. We're going to be live here on Seahawks Today. Myself, Smitty's going to be here. 5 p.m. Pacific time. Seahawks, Giants, MetLife Stadium. It is going to be a great time. Come on in and hang out with us, and let's root on a Seahawks win together. Live here on the channel. Coming up Monday night, 5 p.m. Pacific time. We'll see you then. Last question. Do the Seahawks have what it takes to compete with the Niners in the NFC West? 49ers are 3-0 and playing the Arizona Cardinals this week. Cardinals coming off a win against the Dallas Cowboys. So another thing I was talking to the channel about this week on our live show was that, a lot of people are sitting there and they're saying to themselves, man, I hope the Niners lose because that helps the Seahawks and all this. And I don't like to sit here and root for other teams to lose. If the Seahawks do what they're supposed to do, it doesn't matter what the Niners what they win or lose. The Seahawks control their own destiny their own way. So I'm not going to sit here and worry about the Niners. The Seahawks don't play the Niners for a while. Till what, Thanksgiving? So the Niners are not my concern at this moment. Think about this. Last year, the team the Seahawks played of the Niners week 2 versus the team they played later on in the year was two different teams. The Niners look as good as any team in the NFL right now. If I'm going to be frank, if you made me pick today who's winning the division, I'm saying San Francisco, and I would be an idiot if I thought otherwise, just based on the sample size we've seen. But it's a long season. Things change. Injuries happen. At the moment, the Niners are the favorites, and they've earned that right to be that. But there's still a long ways to go in this process. The Seahawks, could they win the division? Absolutely they could. But there's got to be some things that go their way and, some luck to happen along the way as well. So still ways to get there, but the Niners are still the team to beat in the division. And it's going to be a big test on Monday night going up against this New York Giants team. Because if we're comparing things, the Niners put a shellacking on the New York Giants. That game was not close. So this will be a good measuring stick to see where the Seahawks are at this point. Will the Seahawks win the NFC West? What do you think? HY for hell yes. HN for hell no. Who wins the division? Chime in, tell us in the comments section who gets the job done and walks away with the division title. Give me a follow on Twitter, X, whatever Elon's calling it now, at Tyler Jones Live. You can follow me there, and I'll see you next time right here on Seahawks Today.